Welcome to the Season 2, Episode 5 of Point of View, a series of leadership discussions by amazing workplaces. We sincerely believe that no workplace can become amazing without the people who lead and show the way and who relentlessly work on the various aspects of creating happy and productive workplaces. They are the real leaders, not just in title, but in the true sense of the word. Through Point of View series, I'm getting into a discussion with these leaders from various organizations spread across India as well as across borders. The idea is to get into conversation with them, to get them to share their views about the various aspects of making organizations really amazing. The purpose is to understand what drives leaders to their own workplaces so that we can delve deeper into the corporate philosophy and share with you path-breaking ideas. Ideas that come straight from people who have gone ahead and changed their workplace to make them better, more inviting, and extremely thriving for their own people. Our guest on the show today is Partha Neog, CEO and co-founder of Vantage Circle. Partha has over 2 decades of expertise in product and executive management. He has a proven track record of scaling great businesses and was instrumental in the conception and launch of 99acres.com. Having worked in different roles across industries, Partha decided to venture out on his own in 2011 with the launch of Vantage Circle, creating a single platform for engaging employees through rewards and recognition, wellness, perks, sentiment analysis, and more, both through web and mobile platforms. As the founder of Vantage Circle, Partha is really passionate about HR technologies and always hungry for more. He's a strong believer in being able to have an impact together with the team, and his leadership has seen Vantage Circle emerge as a recognized HR tech platform in Asia and one of the fastest growing recognition brands in North America and Australia. Welcome, Partha, to Point of View. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Ekta. Thanks for having me here. And you guys have been doing an amazing job at amazing workplaces. And I'm honored to be here on this Point of View series.
I'm really so excited to discuss about Vantage Circle and the impact that recognition can have on employees, because this is such an important topic of discussion, because having people engaged is one of a key problems with organizations these days. Yeah.
True. I think it's one of the most important things which, and I'd say one of the most lowest hanging fruits which HR can leverage to engage their employees.
Absolutely. So, Partha, first and foremost, I would like to understand from you, because you are in this very niche space, what does recognition mean to you?
Basic definition, everyone knows what recognition means for anyone. Okay. Now, recognition is something which everyone looks for. Okay, right from our childhood, it is something which we crave for. Recognition. Okay, appreciation is something which we look for. And if you look at any company, no company is going to say that I don't want recognition, or no employee will ever say that I don't want recognition. Okay, most people work for recognition. Of course, when I say this, I also mean that the basic factors are taken into care, like the salary, the safety, and all those things. But beyond that, that is what people work for. If you look at the most passionate of the workforces, what do you see there? Think about the armed forces. The salary is there. The hygiene factor has to be there. Beyond that hygiene factor, what is it that they look for? Is the recognition what they get, is the mission for which they, the organizational values and the mission which they work for. So that's why recognition, I think, is very, very important. And I just want to just end that part by saying that recognition doesn't mean always connected with performance. Recognizing people might be for some inherent value. I mean, Ekta, I want to recognize you just because you are there in the organization, okay, because of all your contribution, not because you met this month's target there. Okay, so that is an important part which people sometimes forget there. Performance, of course, is also important, and that should also be recognized. But beyond performance, a simple inherent value is also there in recognition. So that's my view of recognition, why it's important.
Okay. Thank you, for starting this discussion on such a good note on what recognition is for you. So, now tell me, what is the importance of rewards and recognition in organizations? Since, we've already spoken about what recognition could mean. Yeah. So, in an organization, I mean, why is rewards and recognition important, and why should organizations focus on their R&R strategies? I mean,
Right.
yeah.
So, see, as I answered in your first, the previous question, everyone likes recognition. I don't think there is any dispute about that. Okay. And I don't need to throw numbers by saying that if you increase recognition, you will get more productivity. Your attrition will reduce. No point. Sometimes the paralysis by analysis happens. We don't need to look into so many things. We just need to say recognition. The more you recognize, the better it is. Okay. And wherever you are, you can always start the journey and improve upon it. Now, and as I also mentioned, it's one of the lowest hanging fruits, okay, which companies can easily do to increase the engagement, and hence other metrics of or KPIs of the company can improve by this. Now, and it has always been going on. It's not like rewards and recognition is something new. Okay, it has always been going on for generations. I mean, I started my career in 1997. We used to have those annual, days where the top performers or the best guys or best people in the company were recognized in the stage as something. Okay,
Town halls and stuff.
yes, so it was always happening. It's nothing new. But what has happened now is that we need to go beyond a tick mark activity. Okay, it has to go beyond a tick mark activity. And how do you go beyond a tick mark activity? How do you actually put a formal structure to this entire thing? How do you continuously evaluate your design, okay, and make tweaks to improve it? So that is, I think, the change which is happening now. We have, for example, in our company, or we have launched this framework called the AIR framework: appreciation, incentivization, reinforcement with an emotional connect. That framework is something which helps companies to design their recognition programs, and also help them to evaluate and measure that kind of thing. There are tools like ourselves, not just us. There are lots of other players in the market. There are tools like us which help to scale these programs. Okay, so it's an important area which HR should focus on. The impact is huge there, and the tools and frameworks are available for HR now to work on it in a very structured way. So that's why I think everyone should focus on that. Everyone has been focusing on it. It's nothing new, but use the right tools, use the right frameworks now to make it more effective.
Right. So, tell me, at any point, is it if a organization does not recognize and they say, okay, we are paying a very good salary to our employees, then do you feel that recognition is important?
See, nothing is binary like a 0 or 1, right? You pay me, let's say in 20 years experience, you pay me, 10,000 rupees a month, and you give me all the recognition in the world, right? I will definitely not stay in the company, right? You pay me a 1 crore a month, you don't give me any recognition, I'll still work, right? But generally it's not binary like that. Okay, so there's a middle ground. So the salaries are hygiene factors. You have to pay what the market demands to be paid, but recognition helps to engage. So I look at this when you're an employee of a company, I look at it like a marriage. As it doesn't mean that you will not divorce. You might divorce. There's nothing wrong in that. Okay, but as long as you are married, be engaged. Okay, be engaged by me. I know that you work for it. You work passionately for the company, and at some point of time, you might decide to move. And how do you get that kind of passion? Recognition is one of the factors which help you bring that kind of engagement in the employee. So to answer your question, Zero salary, all recognition will not work. All salary, zero recognition will still work. Okay.
I just
So,
wanted to hear that from you. Yeah.
right.
Okay, cool. So tell me, Partha, now we've just discussed the importance of rewards and recognition and why organizations should focus on those strategies. Now, tell me one thing, what type of recognition works best for employees, and how should organizations design their R&R program for maximum mileage?
Right. See, of course, the short answer to this is a typical, management answer. It depends. Okay. See, every company has to take into consideration their workforce demographics, their company goals, the company values, and design the program accordingly. Okay. But what are the factors even to look at that they should be aware of? For example, and that's what we have described very well in our AIR framework. We're saying this is the framework which you should look at, start designing. Now, how you design your program will be different from, let's say, an IT company. If you are a manufacturing industry, is going to be different. But what are the factors which you should look at? For example, let me just throw a few examples. How frequently should you give recognition?
Mhm.
Have you decided, is once a month good? Is once a year good? Okay, how do you even measure it if you don't know what your goal is, right? And is this frequency same for people at the lowest level in the company compared to the, let's say, the very senior management? Maybe the senior management requires once in a while frequency, maybe the junior folks require more frequently. You have to factor in those things. How much monetary value should you give? Okay, should it be a very high monetary value, or should you make it more exclusive, like being in a president's club or something? Okay, which will drive people, incentivize people to crave for this kind of recognition.
Yeah.
So all those factors come into play, and every company has to decide what is best for their, to drive their company values, to drive their company goals. But the framework which we have, there are a couple of other frameworks also. So the framework which we have, it helps you start thinking in those ways and continuously monitor it. Okay, monitor it, make some tweaks which are required, measure the results there. No one's going to get the perfect recognition system. It's a journey. It'll keep on happening, but you have to continuously measure it. Otherwise, if I say have recognition in your company, you'll say, yeah, I recognize all my team members. I've told all my managers to recognize their team members. What is happening? Who knows? How are you measuring? Who knows? What is the best practices? How do you know? We don't know what are the best practices. So this framework, these kind of frameworks help HR to design their programs, and it has to be different for every company's needs.
Right. Interesting. So, one question comes to my mind is how, just for the general understanding of our audience, how is incentive different from rewards?
No, so rewards overall in the HR parlance, okay, rewards has a lot of other factors, okay, as in like your entire salary, compensation, incentives become a part of your entire rewards there, okay. That's the normal HR parlance, that rewards is the overall benefits which you get from a company. Incentive is one of the components which you get there, okay. In our framework, when we say air, the incentivization, what we mean by that, how do you incentivize people? How do people feel great, or feel accomplished?
Yeah.
What kind of incentivization do you give them? Incentivization need not be money always. Okay, you can of course give them a lakh rupees for doing something, and that's a great incentivization, but you might also make it very exclusive. I gave you the example in the beginning of the conversation, about the army.
Yeah.
You get a president's award. That's a recognition. Even if you get zero money for that, doesn't matter. That's a great incentivization. So incentivization should not be, confused with monetary value. It is incentivizing people for whatever. I mean, whatever drives them. What. So army is a great example of what kind of how incentivization without monetary value can drive certain behaviors.
Great. So, Partha, you are yourself a platform for recognition. Yeah, your company is basically an organization that helps other organizations reward and recognize their people. So, what are some of the best practices in R&R that you follow in your own organization? And would you like to recommend any of these to other organizations too? Yeah.
Yeah, so we, of course, I mean, we are a vendor of rewards and recognition solution. And when we, of course, uh, use all whatever we learn from our clients, also we try to practice, okay? Some basic stuff, as it has to be a top-down approach initially before everyone gets into the habit of recognition. So we have made very clear that every team member, every manager, every team has to recognize their employees. And we keep on showing this in a very visible way to everyone, okay? But I think one of the best things which we have seen work is where we are giving them benchmark against how their team is performing in terms of recognition compared to other teams. So we say, for example, let's just example, the HR team, the recognition is way below the company average. Okay, then the HR manager immediately sees, oh, I didn't realize that, let me, put in more recognitions there. We nudge people saying that these two team members you haven't recognized in the last 6 months. Is it by design or you've just forgotten about it? So we nudge people towards certain behavior.
Yeah.
I think these two things have been some which has had the maximum impact, giving a benchmark, because people don't know how much should I give. Okay. So if they tell that you are giving less or you are giving more compared to the average, compared to other teams, or certain values your team is not performing well, they get to know about it, okay? And they immediately tweak it. And secondly, as I said, we make it, of course, very visible to everyone. We nudge people towards certain behaviors. It's all automated on the platform, which is done. So these two, I think, has been very effective. And one more thing which is there is we're also very specific about when we give a recognition. We just don't say, Ekta, here's your spot award. Okay, for what? Okay. So we try to make it very personalized and specific, that Ekta, on this XYZ project, you helped me on this thing, beyond your normal call of duty. So that is why I'm giving you the recognition. We're trying to be very specific there. So these are some of the specific things which we have done in our company.
Okay, interesting. So Partha, tell me one thing. You have such a vast experience in this field. According to you, can you name any companies which you feel are doing a very great job in recognition?
So it should not be right for me to do that. But what I have seen is I'm surprised by some of the companies, what they have done. For example, Tata Communication, who's one of our clients, okay, has been doing such an amazing job over the last few years. And it's not new for them. They have been doing it for quite some time. We see Wipro, for example, again, one of our clients, how they're continuously evolving their recognition programs. Okay, they're not like, okay, something is working, let it keep on working. They're actually taking active part, looking at it, measuring it, making changes to their recognition programs. Okay, so these are just a couple of examples. I mean, many of our clients are there. Many of them who are not even our clients, I think, have been doing a great job in this space. But on the negative side, I think we are just scratching the surface. I would say, again, I mean, without a very scientific analysis, I'd say less than 5% of the companies are using the tools to their best use. There's much more to recognition, rewards and recognition, than just giving out some gift cards or giving out some points. Okay, there's much beyond that. And I think it will evolve. The time has come now that rewards and recognition has become mainstream. And in the next couple of years, you'll see a lot of companies adopting these technologies and frameworks.
Okay. Thank you so much, Partha. I think this was a wonderful discussion that we had today on the
Thank
importance of rewards and recognition and how companies can improve and what are the ways in which they can improve and take their rewards and recognition forward. Thank you so much for being on our platform once again. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ekta. Thanks for having me here, and lovely talking to you.
Thank you.